Yeah, I think that what we saw from the output hike and the swiftness which with which they did this was really a signal to the market that should there be any kind of major disruptions, that OPEC is absolutely willing to hike production very swiftly to accommodate that. Now, obviously, the big question is, well, if the major oil producers here, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, the UAE, if they're experiencing any kind of disruptions to both either their oil infrastructure or just the ability to get that oil out of the Middle East, that may not be all that helpful. And we're really going to see reliance on places like Kazakhstan, for example, to increase output.
How do producers like Saudi Arabia and the UAE factor into market stability in this scenario?
So I would say they're really key right now. What's interesting is that both the UAE and Saudi Arabia don't rely 100% on the Persian Gulf to get their oil out. So Kuwait, most of Iraq, and they are almost entirely reliant, really on the Strait of Hormuz. Saudi Arabia does have a way to get oil out through the Red Sea, and the UAE has pipelines that go around the Strait of Hormuz. But still, a lot of their oil is still set up, and oil products as well, to go out through the Strait of Hormuz. And we've seen, as you mentioned, that tanker rates are sky high. So, even if there is no, direct threat from Iran, it's still too expensive to send a tanker through the strait, either to pick up oil or to get it out. And so, this is really causing a standstill that, if it continues for, a week or even two, could really start to cause major problems.
Ellen, if there is a winner in all of this, you say that would be Russia, at least in the short term, right? Because I guess its oil would be able to flow unobstructed to its biggest oil consumer, which is China.
Exactly. China is really, it has the biggest problem with oil not being able to get out of the Persian Gulf because it consumes a huge amount from there. But it also consumes a large amount of Russian oil, and it can get that oil without having to go through the Persian Gulf. So I would not be surprised if, this continues, to see China increasing its imports from Russia even more. And as oil prices go up, Putin can also charge more for his oil. So he is definitely looking at this as, there's more money in his pocketbook now, and he's potentially got another more space to sell his oil to the customers that will buy it. Another question is, will India, which recently committed to stop buying Russian oil, feel that it needs to go back to purchasing Russian oil to offset the losses that it's suffering because it can't get oil from the Persian Gulf?
What are some key potential red flags that you'd be watching in the coming weeks in terms of oil markets?
Yeah, I think the biggest issue I think we're looking for right now, I think spikes in natural gas prices in Europe and also in Japan and in other Asian countries. Qatar has shut down its LNG plants, and they're a major supplier to Asia. And so, we're going to be looking for big spikes there. And then as well, we're talking not just crude oil, but also products are major things that are going through the Strait of Hormuz. And so it will be very important to keep an eye on that, particularly Asia, China, Japan, South Korea. These are all countries that get huge amounts of these vital products from the Middle East. And so be keeping a very close eye on what China's doing. I know that they recently started talking to the Iranians. It will be interesting to see if they try to bring their economic leverage to push the Iranians to kind of bring this to a swifter resolution.